the effect, okay? The effect of technology. Next, we judge how we live our lives. It is from, yes, it is from. And these are some mistakes. These are some mistakes that we don't see, we don't pay attention to. Okay, but you need to check when you are revising. When you are revising, editing, you need to check these information, because few writers or few students will pay attention to the spelling mistake of form, because form is spelled right, form, but in the context, in the sentence, it's not correct, because we need from. So here are some messages that you need to take with you home when designing and drafting your manuscripts. Remember to plan in advance and revise many times. So plan and revise many times. Keep it simple and active. Avoid jargon and try to sell your message products in every sentence or paragraph. So whenever you are writing a paragraph, a sentence, put or remain in your mind that I am selling my products. I need to write a good sentence. I need to write a good paragraph. Okay? And just write. And even in the beginning, yes, the draft. Why we call it a draft? Because it contains mistakes. It contains other ideas that maybe in the next or the editing time revision we can delete them. So in the beginning, just try writing, start writing, and then you are going to edit and revise. So this was the first or the third section of this workshop. We will move to a second, more specific section about writing a paper. Prepare to become a scientist. So report findings. This is how to become a scientist. Report findings to the scientific community. Contribute to body of research. Follows style of the journal and demonstrate understanding. So the scientific method, how it works. We have in the beginning question. The question, what is the problem or observation? And we talked about this before, about the question, research, about the hypothesis, the experiment study, and the analysis, interpretation, and comparison, and at the end, what is next? So these are the elements of a research paper or scientific writing. Starts with a question, research questions. The research, learn about the topic. It means when you talk, you review what was said before. Hypothesis and experiments. It means the methodology. So we said that we follow the IMRAD algorithm, which means introduction, methods, result, discussion. These are the most important elements. And then we have additional sections like the title, abstract, conclusions, appendices, and references. So, in the introduction, we talk about the question, research, hypothesis. In the methodology, we talk about the experiment or the study. And we will give the floor to the next workshop to talk about the methodology. So results, we talk about the analysis. In the discussion, we talk about the interpretation, the comparison between what? Between your study and other studies. Yes. And what is next? It means further research to be done. And from this, what is next, you can start a new article. Okay? So as we said, the organization of a paper. These are the most important elements. So in the introduction, we talk general, then we move to specific, and at the end, in the conclusion, we go again to something general. Okay? So So let's move on now to writing a research paper elements by elements, and we will try to be short enough. And if you're tired, just tell me, we can have a break and come back. Would you like to finish this and then go to a coffee break, or is it okay if we continue?
Yes.
Okay, so title. The first thing of a research paper or an article is a title. What makes a good title? This is a question that you need to ask yourself. What makes a good title? First, you need to ask yourself this question. The title is like the eyes of a woman. This is the title. When you see the eyes of a woman, you have the title. Okay? If she has beautiful eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, it depends. Everyone, yes, it means different people like different things. Okay? So this is the title, the eyes. Then you have, when you see the title, it's like the eyes of a woman. They may mislead. Sometimes you find a good title. Yes, it's a good title. Okay? But they are decisive in making the choice for having a glance at the article. You see the title and you see, okay, I need to read this article. It means not to read it, but I need to have a glance. It means have a look at this article. So the title, a good title should contain what? Should be accurately, completely, and specifically identify the main topic. It should contain the main topic, be unambiguous, it means specific, not too vague, be specific, be concise, begin with an important word to attract the reader. Okay? Try to, in the title, use attractive words to attract readers, to make them read your article. Include independent and dependent variables and species, or if not human, be labeled suitable for indexing. Now move on to abstracts. What makes a good abstract? This is another question. So if we said that the title is like the eyes of the woman, the abstract is what?
The body.
Yes. The abstract is like the whole body. It's not only the whole body of a woman. And no offense, so I'm just talking to give you examples. So it's like the whole body. It may mislead, but it is decisive in making the choice for reading the full text of the article. So if the abstract, you read the abstract and you find it good, then you, let's say, go ahead and start reading the abstract. So a good abstract should state the principal objectives and scope of the investigation, describe the methods employed, summarize the results, and state the principal conclusions. These are the most important elements of an abstract. Abstracts are short, okay? We talk about 150 words, but time consuming. The abstract, it may take you a lot of time to write a good abstract, because the abstract is everything. Put or give more time to the title and the abstract, because they are very important. You may have a good article, but the abstract, if it's not good, it means your article will not attract a lot of readers. Write long and pare down if needed. Analyze one sentence at a time. So for the abstract, analyze one sentence at a time. It means each sentence has purpose. So you don't write sentences like just this. It's for a purpose. If you write anything for a purpose, each sentence logically follows another. And use active voice when you can. most of the time, state only your most important conclusions. Don't say all the conclusions, but say most important conclusions. And of course, as we said before, we will repeat it every time, there is not good writing, only good rewriting. And you have tried, of course, and you will experience this in the future. You will write it and write it and rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. Okay? Each time you read it, you rewrite it. Other sections. Introduction. So the introduction, now forget about the eyes and the body. No eyes, no body. Now you went inside. We go inside. Frame research within broad context. Present relevant background information and state hypothesis. We talked about this before. Here we will be more specific. We will talk about strategies on how to write a good introduction. So most of the time in the scientific field, scientific disciplines, we have keywords that they are used and reused by everyone. Okay? So what do? Why we said in the beginning, we said the first step to scientific writing is what? If you still remember. What is the first step? It is no, it's not. Forget about paragraphs. The first steps of research. Reading. It's reading, okay? So first when you read, try to find, you read this article and you find some keywords. This word is used in the introduction a lot. This word again is used in the methodology a lot. Verbs. There are a lot of verbs. There are some books specialized in this, okay? You find verbs that you can use in the methodology, verbs that you can use in the, or expressions. And opt, I urge you to opt, I encourage you to opt for expressions but not only words. These are some examples. The words, the highlighted words. Do you see them? Highlighted. For example, major current focus. I can use it and I can reuse it. Everyone can use it. Okay? So these words or these expressions, they are used a lot. So try to take them in context and use, just change the other elements. Okay? For example, a major current focus in population management is how to ensure sustainability. Or another sentence, numerous experiments have established that. So this is another experience, and I continue. So the highlighted words, they are, for example, the importance of, and play an important role in. This thing, play, or these things. So convention, heat transfer phenomena, play an important role in. The expression play an important role in. So if I know these expressions, it becomes easier for me to write. Okay, because I have the expressions. Other expressions, the phenomenon was demonstrated by. Okay, this is passive voice. Was demonstrated by. Next, focused on identifying, has been shown. So there are a lot of expressions, and I think time will not allow us to talk about all of them. For example, few researchers have addressed the problem of. These are expressions that you can take, that you can write them down, you can use them and reuse them. Okay? There remains a need for an efficient method that can, and you can continue. You can continue with your findings or information. Other expressions, and these expressions, they are all used in the introduction. As you can see, if you have all these expressions, it's enough. You can write a long introduction. Like this paper focuses on, and you continue. It's your topic. The purpose of this study is to describe and examine, in order to investigate the biological significance of. In this paper, we present. Okay? So these are expressions that you can use while writing an introduction. Methods, it describes how you conducted the experiment or study and provide enough details. Use full sentences. These are some expressions, like the impact test used in this work were a modified version of, and you find all reactions were performed. Both experiments. So these are expressions that you can use also in the methodology section. And again, to validate the results, or in order to determine for the sake of, okay? Results. In the results, you summarize data and you present data in tables. And these are some expressions that you can use. So we can talk about, as discussed previously, as mentioned earlier, as outlined in the introduction, and you have a list of expressions that you can use, because it is very useful when you have expressions with you. You make it easier. And please, an advice for you: opt for writing in English better than writing in French than translating, because it's different. Okay? If you try to write, yes, you may find it difficult in the beginning, but with time, with experience, you will know these expressions. And when you know these expressions, you become familiar with them. And when you become familiar with them, with experience, you will find that writing is much easier than before. It's not easier, but much easier than before. So these expressions, as discussed and so on, our aim, purpose, and so on, they are used. These are some example sentences that you can use them. For example, since this, we reasoned that an interaction in earlier studies, attempts were made, and so on. So the last sentence, it was suggested in the introduction that. It was suggested. So we refer to something that was said in the introduction. This is for results. Summarize data, collected reports, and present data. So generally speaking, in general, in most or all cases, in this section, so these are some other expression using the method described above we obtained. So these are some expressions or some sentences where we use these expressions. It is apparent that both films and so, in general, similar in all cases. Discussion. Indeed, discussion, as we said, we interpret, we compare, we talk about implications and how we could improve the study. Again, these are some sentences that you may use, or expressions that you may use, to the knowledge of the authors, and challenge, comparable, so the highlighted words. Other expressions, the need for, this is for the discussion, the need for, at present, encouraging, fruitful. So these expressions, they are made here in sentences. Our results are encouraging and should be validated. We talk about an important question for future studies. This is future or further research. We're talking about further research. And again, other words, eventually, in future, soon, possible. This means for future research. Expressions like our technique can be applied to a wide range, and it should be possible. This approach has potential, and the solution method could be applied. So the words are made in bold or are highlighted. So writing style. While writing, always use full sentences. Sentences should be concise, direct, active. Therefore, avoid unnecessary words, phrases, and jargon. Put the main verb early in the sentence and use the active voice whenever possible. We talked about the active and passive voice. We said that the active or the passive voice, it is objective. The active voice, it is subjective or subjective, because the passive voice obscures who. It doesn't talk about the person or who or what is doing the action, but the active, it highlights the doer. It means it highlights who or who is doing the action. An example, the plants were measured. The plants were measured. The active voice, I measured the plants. It means I know that it's me that who measured the plants. So we talked also about writing style, about tenses, about using the past or the present. So we said that use the past tense when referring to past studies and another study done in the past. And use the present tense in the rest of the time, or when you are talking about facts, about things that were done in the past but they are facts. So in general, tips for better papers, this is just like a conclusion of what we said. Plan ahead. So planning is very important. Read the manual, make sure you fully understand what you are doing. Prepare tables, write hypotheses, take notes, and plan time to write your paper as soon as possible. We talked about writing. Begin, of course, with an outline and suggest order of writing. This is a suggested when we want to write an article or a paper, which, I mean, with what shall we start? So this is a suggested order of writing. You should start with the methodology first, then move on to the results, discussion, and introduction is the last thing. Okay? And then, of course, references, and we don't talk about references because references, all of you now use, let's say, programs like EndNote and other programs of referencing. Abstracts, of course, at the end. And the title, you may write the title. Of course, you have an idea about the title, but of course, at the end, you will edit it, you will rewrite it. So, remember, this is the scientific method, and try to start or do like the hourglass analogy. So it means structure your report like an hourglass, begin with the big picture and narrow down. It means start with general and then specific, more concise. Follow instructions of the format. It means the guidelines of the journal. And of course, when you follow the guidelines, you know about tables. The titles are on the top, figures, the titles are below, and you should, when you put a table, you should mention it in text. Okay? You should not put a table and it's not mentioned in the text. It should be mentioned. Tables and figures should be mentioned in the text. Referencing, of course, you should reference when you say something that is not used. And at the end, it's all about revision. Okay? About revision. At the end, we will end this workshop with some tools that facilitate writing. Facilitates writing, scientific writing. And here they are, like preparing. We have writing is easier with personal ideas and information from the literature at hand. Evernote and OneNote both support various formats. And I know that you know about these programs or websites. You can use EndNote, you can use OneNote to take notes. Structuring thoughts these are some websites that programs that you can use to organize your thoughts, your ideas. And you are encouraged to use workflow, the last websites. Reference management, as I said, EndNote is the most EndNote and Mendeley, they are known. Collaboration, we talk about Dropbox, Google Drive. It means it helps these websites or programs, they help you to collaborate. You can write online and your colleague or friend completes. Drafting, and this is very important about avoiding distractions. These are some programs that you use when you install them. If you have a message, if you have another, it means they block everything. Your focus is only on what you are doing. It means on what you are writing. Okay? Like code.org. So these are some programs that they help you focus. They avoid distractions. You understand what I say here? Because, for example, you may have some emails, messages appearing, so it blocks everything. Achieving productivity, other programs, and some programs of revision, like Grammarly. Do you know this website? Grammarly. It's online, and also most of them, they are not free, but they give you they help you to find the grammatical and mistakes in terms of style. Okay, especially Grammarly. It's very important, but it's not for free. Okay. And of course, other programs of layout like LaTeX and other things that you know. These are some books. If you want to read about scientific research, these are some books that you can read, and you can know what is scientific writing or English scientific writing in general. For example, the last one, how to write and publish a scientific paper. These books, they are very important if you want to learn about the methods of writing a scientific paper. This is also another way how to summarize an article. You have an article and you want to summarize it. You can use this method. These filters, for example, article number 1. What is the research question or research questions? And you write the research questions. What is the theoretical perspective? What is the methodology that was used in this article? What were the findings? And your critical evaluation. So I encourage you to use this method in order to summarize an article. If you do this for each article, you find it easy to write your literature review. And at the end, learn to enjoy the road. So the road, for example, in this picture, you see that it's beautiful. Okay? Yes, there is a river, trees, water. But when you go inside the jungle, when you go inside the forest, you may find difficulties. You may find obstacles. This is life. So learn to enjoy the road. And thank you very much for your attention. So shall we leave the questions later, or if you have